It is another special edition of Litter Media Live, and today we're going to visit with Phil Evans. He runs the folks at Kingston National Bank, one of our fine sponsors, and he wants to tell us more about fraud today. We're going to talk about that and many other things, I'm sure. So, because it's one big giant ball that we found ourselves in. Details coming up right after this from Kingston National Bank.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier. Transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use, anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our Kingston National Bank mobility app today.
With Phil Evans from Kingston National Bank. And Phil, you and I were talking just a moment ago about one of the biggest problems you're facing today. It is fraud. And with so much electronic banking being done today, we need to pay close attention to our personal accounts and our business accounts, don't we?
Yeah, thank you very much. You certainly do. We as an industry are going through some difficult times, and fraud has made its way back. I say way back. Check fraud's made its way back, but it's coming at us from all different angles. And I guess I say that we all want the convenience of being able to do things easy, hitting that easy button, but sometimes we don't take the responsibility that goes along with some of those conveniences.
Yeah. And it's so easy to get lured into certain things because when you get something in the mail, you'll see an official seal on it or a logo, and it's like, well, this has to be legit. Well, we're getting that through email now, electronically, and it does look like it's coming from the government, but it most likely is not.
Yeah. I think the big message is slow down. I know anytime you watch a video or training on malware or, why is this pop-up coming up? Slow down and think about what you're seeing. Does it make sense? Yes, we've had repeated customers say, you have to know about this because, the Office of the Controller of the Currency or FTC or IRS, they sent me these messages. And, were you expecting that? Does it make sense? Why are you getting this? The big thing is trust people trust your banker. I hope it's Kingston National Bank that you trust, but call your bank. If they're leading you to believe that you shouldn't talk to us about something, that's the first red flag.
Yeah.
And we see it all the time.
I know this is the week where you focus on the seniors and keeping them aware of fraud, but you don't have to be a senior to have someone tap into your account and start sapping all your money away.
For sure. Again, the conveniences that we all use, they don't care about age. What they care about is sloppiness or, somebody didn't take the appropriate action, or they clicked on something they shouldn't have. And they may sit there for months. You may not realize that someone's in your computer observing. And once they're there and they get the data, then they're going to start their scheme. And that may be when you get the second notice that, hey, now they're going to tell you, we've noticed there's fraudulent activity in your account. So it's them that has started it, and you're clicking to allow them to help you. And by the way, don't talk to your bank about this because we're working hand in hand with your bank, and we're going to make this all go away. First red flag, call us.
Yeah. If you see or hear anyone say, you don't even have to talk to your bank.
Right. We're
doing it for you.
Exactly. And it's live. I mean, we just had one recently. It made me, it really did hurt. It made me very sad because the people, by the time they had called the bank, it was too late. So I just encourage you to slow down, be responsible, talk, know the risk that's associated with it. And we're focusing on that one event, but we're seeing it in our businesses. Right now, check fraud, I mentioned that earlier, but reconciling an account A lot of people don't reconcile anymore from a consumer standpoint, but by the same token, they've got access to know what's going through their account. Pay attention to your account and be responsible.
Yeah. And you can't cause problems by looking at your account. You can only prevent problems by looking at it.
I think that's true. You're not initiating a transaction, be careful with your passwords, all those kinds of things. But if you're just looking at your account and saying, gee, yes, I did write Dan a check and that's clearing, or made a transfer and that's clearing, great. But what about that one you say, wait, I don't remember this. The sooner you can tip off the fact that there's fraudulent activity in your account, the better chance we have at not only getting your money back, but potentially getting our money back. And if we work together, maybe we can make a difference. It's just unreal, the amount of money that's involved and the amount of frequency with which we're seeing it as a bank.
I know there are services you can subscribe to that will keep an eye on things like that, like LifeLock and so on and so forth. But fraud happens no matter what, and they can't prevent everything. But if you can be on top of it, all the better.
For sure. We're trying to keep costs down as a bank, but when we talk about losing money, we can't recoup that. So I think we need you as consumers and customers to be responsible and utilize the service we have. It's just very, very important, and it's sad because we see how hard people work for their money. And when it's gone, it's gone.
And I know the old adage is, well, the FDIC is involved and it's insured. But a lot of these instances, you're not going to get that money back, are you?
Yeah. FDIC is there for bank failures and to protect your money. Yeah. There's no insurance for this fraud. And yes, the customer may come out whole, but who ends up holding the loss? A lot of times it's your good old community bank, and we're trying to be your partner. We're in it together. You mentioned LifeLock. Those kind of services are great, and I encourage them. But, they're working more towards your identity theft, your credit scores, you're making sure there aren't accounts opened up. We're talking about fraud that's in your account, your existing account, and really, there's not a lot you can do except for be responsible yourself. A business, they really, they're focusing. They know there's a lot of money in businesses. They're focusing on business accounts. Businesses need to utilize tools that keep them aware of what their balance is and how checks are clearing and who are they paying. Payroll fraud, it's out there. There's too many ways of creating fake checks. And with today's technologies, you can make them look really good. And next thing you know, you had 4 payroll checks clear your account that they aren't your employees. So it comes at us from all directions, Dan. I can't begin to take the time to explain them all, but together we've got to get the word out that these conveniences are great. I want you to use them, but be responsible and use them, and work with your bank to understand how you can stop some of this. We're a small bank, but the dollar amount that we're losing is just, I've never seen it in my career. And my career is getting longer.
There are the evildoers who will be the ones who will still come into the bank, pull out a weapon, and try and make. But those days are starting to decrease because just as it's easy for we consumers to make online purchases or transactions from home, I think the robbers are starting to learn it's just as easy for them to stay home and find ways to steal.
For sure. There's still bank robberies, and you hear about them here and there, but the amount of losses that we see today are much greater, and it's arising from what you're describing. I mean, they can be setting in a foreign country, they can be setting any place, and the only thing that identifies them is that IP address, and you also know you can change that IP address tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So suddenly you can't track it, and the money's gone. The advent of crypto, things get transferred into crypto quickly, and there's no tracking on that. I just want people to understand that these conveniences are good, but you've got to know how to use them. The other one that we see a lot, and it's gaining in popularity, Zelle, PayPal, Venmo, the Cash apps. It makes it super easy. But once you click, it's gone, and we can't get it back. So don't change your mind. Do you know who you're paying? Those apps really weren't meant for businesses. They're meant for more person-to-person transactions. Mm-hmm. And, they use the commercials of, gee, we're going to split the tab on this dinner. Well, that's perfect. You know who you went to dinner with. But when somebody starts pressing you to send money that way for a business transaction or purchasing a vehicle, make a down payment on this vehicle, we'll hold it for you until you see it. Gee, you can buy your pet, but we need a deposit. Those types of things, you don't know who you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. And in this day and age, I strongly encourage you to slow down and think about what the urgency really is.
Yeah. We've been promoting that this weekend is free phishing weekend, but we want to talk about a different phishing. This is the PH phishing. And once they get the tentacles around you, they can not only take you, but people you're connected with. If you've got children who have their accounts that are tied to yours in some fashion.
Again, phishing, it's been around a long time, but we're seeing increased and improved schemes. Again, something pops up that seems too good to be true, or the other way, it seems like it's awful and this is going to help you. Stop. Think about what you're seeing. Do you recognize the email? Do you recognize who you're communicating with? You can take it on down to texting and some of the smishing and some of the things you see there. Just stop. Why someone wanting that you don't really know suddenly to have a conversation with you, or they're going to help you? Mm-hmm. There's a good chance that it's getting you to point, click, let them observe your actions. Next thing you know, everybody's got their passwords someplace. Password protection is really important. It's so important. But yet everybody says, well, I'm going to just create this little Word document over here and it's got all my passwords in it, or on my phone I've got those. Well, you can't do that. So yeah, it's there. And I like to fish, but not that kind.
Right. And if you have created that document for your passwords and things, think about, well, how am I going to remember where that is? Well, it's just as easy for an evildoer to search once they're in your computer as well.
And generally they're watching they can observe everything you're doing on the computer, and they watch your habits. And so they know right where it's at. And it's just too convenient. There's a lot of tools out there for you to use to password protect things. Dual authentication's now very prevalent. If any of your apps you're using have the ability to do that, say yes, get it done, so that they're sending you a code and you've got to be able to have that device. I mean, there's just a lot of precautions that people say, it's not going to happen to me.
Right.
And what we're seeing is in good old Ross, Pickaway County, it's happening. It's here.
When it happens to you, it changes everything.
For sure.
Your whole perspective.
It's kind of like your health. You don't worry about it. It's not going to happen to me until it does, and then it's too late.
Yeah, right. You mentioned here in Ross County, you have many branches that go up into Pickaway County and other areas. How are the law enforcement agencies helping the banks as well in this fashion?
Sure. First of all, we always, anytime we get a fraudulent transaction, we strongly encourage, really require that they contact and file a police report. Attorney General's office has sites that you can enter some data to file. But, it's the same thing there. They've got an awful big list of crimes and issues. And when we talk about some of these internet crimes, they're limited in terms of what they can do. The IP address that's there, it's gone. It's switched every day. So they're very helpful, but, if we're really trying to stop it, it's precaution that's going to stop it. Being reactive to it isn't going to change these crimes from happening. The money's gone. They've got their money, and by then they've set up another website, or they've set up another phishing scheme from a different IP address. So while they're helpful and they provide a lot of education like this, and it's not helping us get funds back or keeping consumer costs down by saying we're not losing money.
This is an awareness campaign today. We want to make sure that you are aware of these things happening. And if you haven't been hit yet, chances are you count yourself lucky because it very well could happen at any time. So you're waving that red flag just to get people's attention. And I know that while banks are competitive because you're a business, still you would also like to be able to work together and maybe help educate people in this fashion. And I know that you do seminars and things of that sort. Maybe we can have a symposium of one day with collective members.
I agree. I mentioned the industry, and we're all in it together. We want to see the banking industry be strong. Every article every magazine that I'm getting today has an article in it about these types of topics. It's hitting our industry hard. We need the help of consumers to make a difference. So getting the awareness up, getting the word out. I strongly, if you're a Kingston customer and you hear something here that I'm talking about, please ask. We'll help you understand more. If you're not a Kingston customer, sit down with your banker, learn a little bit, reach out, educate yourself. We're in it together. So we want to create awareness in the industry.
Before we let you go, we want to talk about the good things you folks do in the community. You make a way to pay back. You're involved with the fair. You and I first met at the Ross County Fair in, I think, 1982. We were both very young.
Just yesterday.
Exactly. But when we look at these types of things, that's what's important for a bank to be a community bank, to invest in its local people and activities.
Well said. Community banking is just near and dear to us. It's what we believe in. When the community does well, when our customers that live in the community are doing well, the bank's going to do well. We're going to give back. We want to see the community continue to grow. I think community banking's where it's at. There's a lot of really good banks in our area. Some of them are what I define as community banks, and those are banks that live, work, and make decisions right here in our local economy. So I appreciate the plug because that's who we are and that's what we're going to do, and we plan on staying in this community. It's been great to us. We've been here since 1909, and we're planning on continuing to give back and do the things that you would expect us to do.
Help me remember where all your branches are.
So we've got our main office in Kingston. Then we have a branch in Chillicothe, in Circleville. We have a branch in Amanda. We have a branch at South Bloomfield, and then Adelphi also has a branch. So there's 6 locations. And we're about a $550 million bank today. So probably not as small as when you and I met, but we've shown great growth. And the community's been good to us. We're going to continue to support the areas we're in. 4-H, you mentioned the fair. 4-H is a big thing for us. We believe in the youth of the community, and 4-H is a great way for us to give back. Scholarships, we do a lot of scholarships within the Pickaway, Ross, Fairfield territory. We believe in trying to educate, and the stronger youth we can build, the better our future looks.
Mm-hmm. I like what you say about the 4-H because chances are when these kids become employment age, they've got structure because of their work through 4-H, and that just keeps the cycle going, I think.
I agree. 4-H, a kid needs something that they love and something they're passionate about. Marty and I talked about it on the way down, and we, whether it's sports, whether it's 4-H, whether it's a love of music. And we try to do a good job of rounding out our contributions to all those areas. But I agree, work ethic, responsibility, that's what we're talking about here today, is being responsible for your actions and taking the appropriate steps. I don't care where you get that training, but get it.
That's right. It could lead to slot cars and skateboards.
There you go.
Right, Marty? Speaking of Marty Ford, who's off camera here today. Phil, thank you for your participation today, and hopefully we have helped educate our listeners and viewers to find out more about, at least maybe they're checking their bank account right now.
Please ask questions. That's my big message. Ask questions. Trust your banker. Trust your circle of friends that you have built. Does it make sense? And don't be embarrassed by asking any question, because that's the other thing we see. Sometimes people, gee, I'd like to tell Phil about this, but I might look stupid. Nah, you're not going to look stupid. Ask a question.
Yeah. Don't look stupid $150,000 later so that you won't get back. So
Thank you.
Sure thing. Kingston National Bank, you'll find them online at kingstonnationalbank.com. And thank you for watching this special edition of Litter Media Live.